Jay. How are we doing today? I'm doing pretty well. Obviously, on the drive to work again. We're all on this journey. We're all trying to figure it out. And a thought that just occurred to me, right? So, very little time to contemplate. I was just doing my morning rounds, thinking about coming to work today and how I got to water my plants and play with the cats or to get ready. And obviously, like with one of the plants, I could notice its leaves were a bit droopy, right? So you're thinking, okay, got to water it, got to nourish it. And it got me thinking how with the plant, sometimes, when there's a leaf or a stem that's very clearly, obviously already dead, you are to prune it, right? Cut it off. Make it no longer a part of the plant so that it doesn't put any more energy into it. And it can actually, use the energy it gets from, photosynthesizing, being in the sun, getting water and the sweet soil that it sucks up its nutrients from. It can put those to better things that are actually flourishing, things that aren't, dead. And you think it's sad in the meantime to make it look, a bit of a smaller plant, when you have to prune some of the dead leaves or the dead stems that you hope there aren't too many of, but sometimes there's more than you realise because you haven't actually maintained it in a while. And again, I'm not sure how much you know about plants, or I'm pretty much a novice at it still, but it's intuitive to say what they say about plant keeping, right? And it actually reminded me of a couple who are very near and dear to my heart, who recently sold a bit of land, or they're in the process of selling some land. So a few years ago, young couple, married, looking for the future, bought a piece of land together. The idea was to go and to, build on it and build the family home forever and, raise the kids on it and, live happily ever after. Wonderful plan, would have made Disney very proud. Can't fault them for wanting that. But cost of living, finding jobs, starting a small family, there's lots of expenses, things are hard. So the plan went from, building a big house to, building a tiny home on the property, and then, council and development sort of kicked that back down the road and made it much harder to sort out, which is again really, sort of out of their control, but you have to deal with it. And long story short, it gets to the stage where the cost of maintaining just the repayments for the land, let alone taking out another loan to actually build the house, became too much for them. And I know that they're going through the process now, the heartbreaking process of selling and admitting that, that dream that we had, the stuff that we started 10 years ago when we, when they got engaged, and the past 5 years of looking for land, buying it, talking with developers, getting plans in place, and then sort of playing the waiting game between the bank and the council and sort of all of that to try and figure it out. It's heartbreaking to come to terms with the fact that that plan isn't going to work out, and the reality of the situation is that you have to sell the land to free up some capital to not keep making repayments on land that's not giving you a return. And it's kind of tough that you have to prune the dead leaves, right? You have to know at which point in time the stuff that's not giving you the return, the things that you're putting your energy into aren't being prosperous, that you're not getting what you're supposed to be getting out of them. And to learn to let go is extremely hard, right? And so with this couple that I'm thinking about, I love them to bits, and I really wish that I could just let them know that it's going to be okay. And whether this is the right thing or the wrong thing to do, it's kind of irrelevant. It is the thing that is in front of you to deal with. And even though you would love to say, the plan went swimmingly and everything was great, I mean, what you're hoping for is that one day you can sit down and say, hey, it all worked out for the best, right? And if in the moment this is where you're at, where you're sort of thinking like, it's hard to have faith, it's hard to have trust in the unknown, to not know, you know, to go from, hey, what we are right now is landowners and we have a plan. But if the plan isn't, you know, going to be seen through to fruition, if it's not going to bear the fruits that you're expecting it to, even with the work that you're doing, right? You know, you can only put in so much work before you keel over and things just don't work for you, right? You know, we can't all be Boxer from Animal Farm, right? And the solution to everything isn't just working harder. Sometimes it's pivoting. Sometimes it's making a decision to make a move somewhere else, to do something else, to focus your energies on more prosperous parts of the plant that grow, right? And, you know, I just really want to give that encouraging message that no, things don't always work out according to plan, and that's okay. And a small step in what seems to be perhaps a backwards direction sometimes, you know, if you're sort of disoriented because the plan's, you know, not giving you the mapway, the pathway to look forward to, perhaps it's not backwards, perhaps it's sideways, perhaps it's forward in just a different direction. And so, look, at present time of recording, no, the situation hasn't worked out for them. They don't have the land, they don't have the house, you know, they don't have the situation where everything is hunky-dory for them. But I know that it will be, right? And to know that they can spend this time pruning the leaf, selling the land, freeing up some capital, it's got to give them perhaps the mental headspace, the ability to then reassess the situation with a different set of eyes, a different set of principles. You know, apply that to their value structure and really look at, okay, well, you know, if this avenue, this, you know, tree that we've been barking up for the past, you know, 6 or 7 years doesn't work out, what else can we look at? Where else can we put this energy? And it's very hard to see that from where you are, you know, the old saying, it's very hard to see the forest when you're standing in front of the tree. And it is a message of encouragement to step out blindly, to have faith in, you know, that you can't see right now, but to trust, hey, this isn't the end of it all. There are definitely other avenues to look at. Sometimes you just got to cop the loss that you feel right now and understand that it's not a loss in the long run. Prune those leaves, man. Prune those leaves. Right? Have a great day.